All right, what is up? We are live. I got some, I guess, a multitude of stories here today. Ty Gibbs' his emergence as a, I don't know, threat to win the championship. Like, if not for stage points, he would by far be your leader. Like, the only thing holding him back from being the points leader is all these guys, and points leader by a significant margin is the guys with stage points. So that has been a early story that a lot of people didn't have on their radar. I thought he would have a good story, but being this good this early, I did not have that on my radar. The story about Long Beach, NASCAR possibly buying out the stake in Long Beach. So Long Beach would be a NASCAR track on the schedule because they're trying to get that Southern California date. So that's been a big story today. And then of course, Justin Haley, I guess was it ride height? His ride height was off, and he got penalized. So I guess we're going to tech the Rick Ware cars when they finish 17th now because they've got too much speed. That is so NASCAR. It's not even funny. Like if any team needs to be penalized, yeah, we got to watch out for the Rick Ware racing teams. That's who we need to take to random tech after the race. That is the most NASCAR thing that NASCAR has ever NASCAR'd. And what else did I say I was going to talk about on this one? I can't remember. But you guys can throw it down there in the comments section. So we'll see here. But here is the article from Marshall Pruitt on Racer. I'm just going to read the first couple paragraphs because those are the only ones. Well, maybe the first three paragraphs because I like the guy who founded its name. So I'll get that in there too. But Marshall Pruitt had this to say from Racer Magazine: with NASCAR's latest visit to Southern California being spoken for of its as its final appearance as the Los Angeles Coliseum, could the 49-year-old Long Beach Grand Prix be the next target for America's most popular racing series? ? Multiple sources tell Racer that NASCAR has been actively pursuing the 50% stake in the Long Beach race, a staple on the IndyCar calendar since 1984. They became available for acquisition last year when the estate of late businessman Kevin Kalkoven, I'm not exactly sure how you say that, became available. Long Beach was founded by Chris Pook, Big Pook, and the late racing legend Dan Gurney and the Gurney Bump in 1975 as a Formula 5000 event. The Long Beach Grand Prix earned international acclaim as they stopped on the Formula One Tour from 1976 to 1983 before a financial dispute saw F1 exit and former IndyCar series take over control the following year. Outside the Indianapolis 500, Long Beach serves as the largest and most successful event on the IndyCar schedule. And that has been the biggest talk as far as that particular story goes, because it is apparently, it's one of the crown jewels in IndyCar. So some people are like, IndyCar can't take another L. IndyCar doesn't need this. So there's the pessimism. There's the optimism on the NASCAR side. Now, there's a lot of NASCAR fans that want to see NASCAR have the race there. And Iceberg brought it up. I was going to talk about it, but he beat me to the punch. But we're on the same wavelength as far as this goes. Why not make it a dual event? Just have the race have two races on the same day. It would very easily be accomplished, right? Just have the NASCAR race first, have the IndyCar race second. And I mean, I think that would be a great event. They've been looking to cross promote NASCAR and IndyCar. They've at least been in talks about it several times over the past few years. So with Roger Penske owning IndyCar, maybe they could swing this and make it happen. It would be more financially feasible if you've got two series going to the same track. So everything about it makes sense. And from NASCAR's perspective, I can't speak to the IndyCar side of it. I'm not an IndyCar expert. But from NASCAR's perspective, this makes a whole lot more sense. A racetrack that already exists, that already knows how to put on a race, where you don't have to spend all this money to build a track every single year. You wouldn't have to promote it as hard as the LA Coliseum because you've already got the built-in fan base of people that already go to the Long Beach Grand Prix, and it gives you that Southern California race. So I think it'll be easy to get people to come out there. You definitely, like Snoop Dogg has Long Beach in several of his songs, so you would imagine you could get Snoop Dogg to come out there and do some type of a promotion or something like that. So I think it's good. Anyway, let's jump into the comments and see what you guys want to talk about. For about a week, I went down 8 Mile listening to the real Slim Shady. He says In Between the Lanes. That's let's see what sparked that conversation was. Let's see. I said I've been trying to get the Snoop Dogg song out of my head since I saw Long Beach trending. And Aaron Flynn said, "What Snoop song?" And I said, "What's My Name" by Snoop Dogg, where he says Long Beach is the spot where I serve my cane. That's been stuck in my head all day since I saw Long Beach trending for whatever reason. So that's how old I am. Anyway, let's see. adjusted your setup, says one wise guy. It's still the same setup. It's just I changed the angle on it. I'm trying to get a better camera back behind my desk, so I have my desk pulled out closer, so the desk is closer, and I'm trying to get so where eventually when I do that, it won't shake as much. So we'll have the camera on the ground, and it'll be a proper camera, not just a it's a Logitech webcam, but I've got a better camera that I could use this for. But yeah, this is a same setup, just closer. We changed the perspective. Dennis Gillespie says, aloha. What's up? Aloha, Dennis Gillespie, and aloha to Hawaii as well. Rocking the new glasses, I see. Yeah, I got these, and I got the other ones are actually right over here. 2 pair of new glasses. I'm not quite as blind as I used to be, so or at least it's held off. I've remained the same level of double vision. Man, Cody Jinks and Deegan. Cody Jinks gave Deegan a sweet guitar. Yeah, he did sponsor her last race. So that's cool. I'll listen to Marshall Pruitt podcast. It says in between the lanes. Yeah, he's broken more NASCAR news this year than some NASCAR reporters. So shout out to him. Then he said on his podcast that NASCAR should use common sense with track limits. They do when would they do that? Not often. Here's my deal with the track limits. Either don't have them or make it a rule that's cut and dry. Like there can't be any type of judgment call in it. That's when NASCAR falls apart. NASCAR can't make a judgment call to save their life. They're too inconsistent. It needs to be a cut and dry, black and white rule. It's either a penalty or it's not a penalty. And it needs to be enforced every single time that it's broken, no matter who breaks it. It just has to be no matter when they break it in the race. It can't be like the Final Four where they don't call fouls in the last 3 minutes because they want to let the game play out. So you just have to be consistent. You have to call it every single time, or you just don't call it at all, and you let it happen like it's always happened. You only call it when it's egregious, like Ross Chastain at Indianapolis, taking the access road. Like you call it in those situations, but other than that, just leave it alone because you got the Dale Earnhardt pass in the grass at Charlotte, which was really a block, right, against Bill Elliott. And then you've got the Dale Senior pass in the dirt, which I was corrected. Thank you, everybody in the comments that corrected me there. The pass in the dirt at Riverside because Riverside never had grass. Sorry, the resolution on my TV wasn't great, and I didn't go to Riverside when it existed. So there is no grass in Riverside. The pass in the dirt. Yeah, you get rid of some of the good moments in NASCAR with the track limits thing. So NASCAR just needs to know who. And my thing is they need to know who they are and just be NASCAR and not try to be like everybody else. But if you are going to have the rule, enforce it. Make it a black and white rule. Make it a cut and dry rule. Make it a rule that you call every time it happens, and you don't put judgment plays into it because when it comes to judgment calls, NASCAR is inconsistent at best. Howdy from the Great White North. What's up, Robin Marks? What's up, Canada? So how does a rear end sever from an I-beam or frame? Well, it's a good question there, one wise guy. And we were actually discussing that at the racetrack. So there's only 2 things that we could come up with. He either wheel hopped it and it got in there and started banging really hard and that sheared it, or the whole rear end itself locked up and that's what sheared it off that way. That's the only 2 scenarios that we could figure out. So maybe when he wheel hopped it, it got to bouncing like that, or maybe the rear end itself locked up and that's what sheared the bolts off. So that's from people that have been in racing way longer than me. So that makes sense to me. That could be a situation where it happened. So that's the best I can give you. But that's the only scenario I could think of. And I was talking about how come they don't just run chains underneath of them. And somebody told me, I guess it was familiar with trucks, they do run chains. They ripped off the chains too. So that means it had some serious, which leads us to believe it probably was wheel hopping, and that's what sheared everything loose. Forgot about Dre is a good hype song. Forget about Dre is a good hype song, says Aaron Flynn. You see the trashed P. Diddy's house during the search. You know what? I'm not going to touch that one. So we'll see what law enforcement figures out over there. But definitely a serious story over there. So I don't want to say anything about it until we have all the facts. But definitely it doesn't look to be good. It doesn't look to be good. Rich says, what vehicle do you drive? I've got a Chevy Silverado that I drive. I've got a Fiat that I'm fixing to put tags on. I've also cars I've driven in the past. I had a Chevy Cobalt before a Deere. I decided that was going to be the end of the Cobalt. I've had several Honda Civics. I do like Honda Civics. Might have another Honda Civic one day. A Mazda. I've got a Mazda Miata, original generation with the pop-up up and down headlights. Let's see what else am I doing. I had a Dodge 1500 truck Ram with the slant 6, single barrel. They got terrible gas mileage no matter how you drove it. 4 on the floor. F-150, 84, 83, somewhere in there. Also a straight 6 in that one, but that was a fun one to drive. see, I don't know. I had an Astro van. I had a 72 Nova that for all of about maybe 3 or 4 weeks before it got stolen. Dodge Intrepid 93, all black. A 98 or 99 Monte Carlo, green. 94 Mustang convertible. I don't know. That's all the ones I can remember. I had a 72 Toyota truck, 4 on the floor, that ran maybe half the time. But it was, I mean, it had like 300,000 miles on it. But I got the use out. Somebody got the use out of it. That was a fun truck to have too. I don't know. That's I don't know. That's as many as I can remember. But I've had a lot. Let's see. Wheels chatter, says Dennis Gillespie. Yeah, I mean that could be that's what we're thinking. The wheel hop and it chattered, and then that's what it ended up shearing it off. I like Ty Dillon, but we got cautions in the future. Yeah, so Ty Dillon getting another shot there. Going to be racing with colleagues, so that'll be cool to see. Richmond will be a Team Penske Cup win this weekend. Blaney or Logano, maybe even Cindric. Yep, I actually have those averages pulled up. And of those, as far as the power rankings goes, it looks like it's going to be Joey Logano as far as mathematically is going to be your best shot there. But not too far from him is going to be Ryan Blaney. So Ryan Blaney and Joey Logano looking at your mathematical best pick there. Don't sleep on Austin Dillon. That's a good track for Austin Dillon and Kyle Busch as well. So it could be, even though RCR struggles at the with the short track package, this might be a good race for him. LOL, Mark, the government never cares about anyone's property. So say Kyle, I will agree with that. Not to get political, but I do agree with that. IMSA also runs the. They just want you to pay the taxes and find ways to raise the taxes. That's just my opinion. So I'm not going to get into that either. IMSA also runs the Acura Grand Prix of Long Beach. Says in between the lanes. Hey, so there you go. That could be possibly another way to get the Southern California race in there. Do a team up with IMSA, which I think it was what the Garage 64, 54. I can't remember off the top of my head. 54, Garage 54. Congrats on your contribution to the win at Sobo. What would you say made the biggest difference on parking it in Victory Lane, says Timber Race? We had drive off. I feel like we had better and clean air. Once Greg got the lead, the clean air was huge for what we were doing. And it's huge at South Austin, period, for what anybody's doing. But the clean air, definitely. And we just seemed to have better drive off as the race went on. Everybody else was a little bit loose. We were a little bit snug, and in the daytime, that paid off for us. And that just and Craig can drive, so that was the biggest thing. Craig can freaking drive. Please, no Snoop Dogg. If we are not careful, NASCAR will be NASCAR anymore, says Nathan Urich. I mean, Snoop Dogg at Long Beach, that kind of makes sense. And everybody's sort of familiar. They might not like his songs, but everybody's at least familiar with him. Penske will drop the ball, and NASCAR will take over the dates. People forget that NASCAR owns IMSA. I mean, that's true too. Like I said, good there. Quattro would appreciate you, my friend, with the fist bump. How do I do this? There we go. Fist bump there. The image on my camera is reversed, so I'm always going with the wrong. I guess I could do it left-handed, but left-handed, I don't know. In some cultures, is disrespectful. So you got the double fist bump, one for each hand. Appreciate you there, Quattro. How many Toyotas make the Final Four in Cup? If it keeps going like it's going, probably, let's see, I would say at least 2. They could possibly sweep it, man. Like, the Toyotas have been strong this season, but I feel like it's going to be probably 2 Hendrick. The way it's shaping up right now, it's probably going to be either 2 Hendrick cars or 2 Joe Gibbs cars. You're probably going to have 1 Penske car and then 1 car from either Joe Gibbs or Hendrick. So I think Hendrick's going to get 2 in, or Joe Gibbs is going to get 2 in, and then you'll have like 1 from the other 2. It just feels like a Penske, Joe Gibbs, Hendrick. I know that's a big shocker. It just feels like a Penske, Hendrick, Joe Gibbs type deal. Hey, appreciate it, Quattro, says Say Kyle. So Say Kyle, thanking Quattro for the hookup there, the gifted membership. At least 5 Toyotas in the finals, says Ronald Russell. So they're gonna pull the Jeff Gordon, the year that they put Jeff Gordon in with the Clint Boyer spin gate. They're gonna get an extra car in the Final Four. It's gonna be the Final 5. I want to talk about Connor missing every turn, including the first one. It's one wise guy. It is what it is. Congratulations on your win at Sobo. I watched it on Flow Race. I appreciate you there, Camaro 50. Yeah, it was Trevor had me worried early, but then Craig, we tried to pass one time on the high side, and the high side was a little too slick. I thought Craig was either going to wreck. I don't know how he could have gotten any further sideways. But we survived that, and then Looney got past us. Then we got past Looney on the next restart, and it was clean sailing after that. Just had the better long run car on them. Did you watch the highlights of the thermal race, BB? I haven't seen them yet. Like I said, actually Monday, I just kind of after the Monday live stream, I just went and kind of passed out on my bed and didn't wake up till about 9 o'clock the next day. And then got cracking on work, so that's why the regular video was a little bit late. Duke in the Sweet 16 versus Houston next. Go Duke, says Napa Racing fan. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Houston has those 3 guards, and I don't know if Duke can. Duke has struggled with shutting down guards, so it's going to be an interesting. It's probably going to be a high scoring matchup, but it'll be interesting to see what happens. But they don't rebound very well, so Duke should have the advantage in rebounding with the height. Or about Corey turning left into Bubba and Martin. Yeah, so there was definitely a lot of action at the very beginning of the race, but no cautions. So all the incidents were magnified because there was no caution to catch those cars back up. So that was that. Riverside mentioned Ra, says Quattro. Yeah, Riverside was the bomb.com back in the day. Unfortunately, they tried to turn it into a shopping mall complex that never got completely finished. So parts of the track, from what I'm told, are still out there. Like, you have to know what they are to see them, I guess. But parts of the track are still out there. At least from my friends who live in San Diego and have visited there, they said you can still see parts of the track. Let's see here. If IndyCar loses its Crown Jewel Long Beach race to NASCAR, what are the chances that Penske would give NASCAR the boot from the Brickyard in retaliation? Oh, that's a good question. That's a good question. I don't know. That would be a complex relationship, and that's why I lean toward what Iceberg was talking about. Like, why not just make it a co-event? You don't have to take something away from somebody. If you have control of it, just make it work for everybody. Like this whole mentality of us versus them. You see it a lot with NASCAR versus F1. You see a lot of F1 fans that always want to take a dump on NASCAR, and vice versa. You see a bunch of NASCAR fans that want to take a dump on F1. Why not just appreciate both of them? Or if you don't like one, just don't watch it. Just there doesn't have to be this rivalry and competition. Like, just work together. Like that's I don't know. It seems logical, but neither F1 or NASCAR are logical. Let's see. One wise guy, Truex Jr. Still edged out a top 10 finish after the incident. For sure. He rallied. And because of that rally, he's got the points lead. Even with the Long Beach news, I still think fans will become roadies on the Dale Jr. Anti-Road Course World Tour this summer. First stop, Daytona. Tell Kennedy more oval, says Napa Race fan. Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily disagree with that. But here's my thoughts on that. NASCAR used to start the season at Riverside. So what if NASCAR started the season at Long Beach, then went to Daytona? You sort of got that West Coast deal that was built in many, many moons ago before I was born. Corey Heim, first Toyota win of 2024. Yeah, and I think because the other thing that I wanted to talk about was somebody mentioned something about Denny Hamlin driving for 2311, driving for himself. So if that happens, Corey Heim is going to be the next guy over there at Joe Gibbs Racing, in my opinion. And I think it's fairly obvious that he'll be the next guy over there at Joe Gibbs Racing because that's who Toyota wants, because he's in the current Toyota commercial. So Corey Heim becomes the next driver of the 11 car if everything shakes out like that, and Denny Hamlin decides to go drive for himself. Let's see. Duke Chronic saying bologna burgers in chat. Willie B says Duke Chronic. Yeah, Willie B had basically a perfect race. You're not going to see a race much better than that. Truck win for Toyota, I should say. Says in between the lanes. Oh, first truck win. I got you. Should have been red hot chili peppers for the LA Clash halftime break. I mean, that's another good fit right there. I mean, why not have Snoop and the chili peppers? Just have everybody that they haven't had yet. Would fit well with the Long Beach race. Better nickname Heim Time or Dame Time. Oh, I don't know. I always preferred Dame Dollar. So I'll go with Heim Time as far as that one goes, because I like Dame Dollar or Dollar Dame as far as that goes. 38 Special is the only good event at Texas Speedway in a few weeks' time. Let's see. Says Napa Racing fans. So he's not looking forward to the Texas Cup race. It would be nice to see a Ford win a race, especially at the Toyota-sponsored race at Richmond, says Bruce Reed. Yeah, that would be one way to do it. It kind of reminds me of when Jeff Gordon beat all 6 C2 cars or Coke half cars, whatever they were called back in the day. There were like 6 Coca-Cola cars at the Pepsi 400, and Jeff Gordon wins the race. But that reminds me, I forgot to mention, there is a poll question. If you'd like to vote on the poll question, should Ford be concerned? Yes, no, too early in the season to panic. It's over. We need a redesign. Right now, yes is at 49%, 13% for no, 36% too early in the season to panic, and 2% think we need a total redesign of the Ford Dark Horse Mustang. Let's see. First car was a 1963 Impala convertible, had a 283 3-speed in it. It was originally a 409 with a 4-speed. They probably took the 409 out after the bearings spun, or somebody took it out to drag race it, one or the other, and they spun the bearings. I'm betting at some point the bearings got spun, though. 2 inches, and Blaney wins Atlanta, but NASCAR will help Ford. I don't know if they'll help them, because I don't think Ford needs a ton of help. Garage 56, thank you, in between the lanes. So that's how far behind I am. So let me speed it up here. Sunday's IndyCar race at the Thermal Club was awful. F1 was better because Verstappen blew up engines to make it interesting. So yeah, I saw a lot of people saying that it's the only made-for-TV race that was actually better in person. Ford has some wins coming, says one wise guy, Duke Chronic, saying Soho. I'd like to see Willie Nelson and Snoop Dogg perform at this year's Coca-Cola 600. That would be cool. That would be a good combination right there. You guys running this weekend, says one wise guy. We're not, as far as I know, we're not running this weekend. I like the blue hoodie, says Duke Chronic. Yeah, so a lot of people, I wore this at South Boston, by the way. So yeah, a lot of people are liking the blue hoodie. We've got, let me do the thing here. Oh, I don't even have, there we go. Ooh. So if you want a blue hoodie or a black hoodie or dark green hoodie with orange on it, or a burgundy hoodie with yellow and blue on it, there you go. This looks light blue in that picture, but it is actually this color blue. I know it looks like a little bit of a Carolina blue in the picture, but it's actually this color blue. So that is the blue one there, and there is the link if you would like to go check them out. I don't care what artists or celebs come to the track as long as they actually want to be at the races and promote the sport, says Say Kyle. That's 100% where I'm at with it. I don't want people just showing up. You see this a lot in F1. It's actually not as big of a deal in NASCAR. What's up, D? You don't see this as much in NASCAR, but you do see it a lot in F1 where they'll show up at the F1 event because the F1 event is a scene that they want to be seen at, but they really don't care anything about being there. So I don't want that attitude at a NASCAR race. But even The Rock, you saw The Rock come there. He was having a good time. He was enjoying himself. He wanted to be at that racetrack. So typically when people come to a NASCAR event, they seem to be there for the event. They're actually excited to be there. So as long as they keep that mojo going, I think that'll be good. Let's see. Willie B might be in the Final Four. I wasn't getting those vibes from Machine Gun Kelly, to be honest with you. So I'm actually glad that fell through because I wasn't really getting the vibe that he wanted to be there. He's kind of a weird dude anyway. But he was good in that movie about Motley Crue, though. I will give him that. Willie B might be in the Final Four, says Duke Chronic. Yeah, he's definitely one of the ones you got to pencil into the Final Four if you're just guessing, which is all you can do. Seen Connor on BBC, and that kid is mature for 17. Still getting over a stomach bug here. Hope you feel better, B. Let's see. The thermal sucked. Yikes, B says Mark Barnum. Thermal is kind of but besides that club. To be honest, ain't nothing out there, says Quattro. I've never been, so I'll have to, if I ever get the chance to go that way, I'll have to investigate it. My brother used to work in the pits when he was stationed at Riverside in the Air Force. NASCAR should piggyback when Indy builds a street circuit. I think they both should piggyback off of each other. Like, IndyCar needs some help. We can't lose IndyCar. IndyCar is a big deal. They need as much help as possible. Long Beach people wouldn't put up 2 events in a row, traffic nightmare. Says one wise guy. Maybe. But maybe you could make them shorter events. I don't know. They can figure something out. Say Kyle says, what's up to EB? BB, do you think Zane Smith wins this weekend? Earth 2? I feel like they keep stealing wins from him on Earth 2. He is the Ty Gibbs of Earth 2. He's doing everything but winning on Earth 2. So maybe this is his weekend. Ford has always sucked. Found on Raceway Dead, says 1400. And Coda sucks as well. Let's see. Denny and Martin Truex Jr. are like highest paid drivers, just saying. Let's see. They're probably looking to divest out of one of those. So we'll see. Either one could retire at any time. They're both to that age where they might think about retiring as well. Let's see. I think Coda is getting dumped for Wilkesboro. I don't agree with it. I'd prefer Wilkesboro take Texas Motor Speedway date. Sweet revenge right back at Texas, says Napa Race fan. I mean, I wouldn't completely hate it. I'll just be honest with you. B saying what's up to Kyle. I think Toyota wins at Richmond. Richmond is typically a Toyota track, but like I said, Joey Logano is really good there, so you can't count out the Penske cars. Toyota logo is the Eye of Sauron. Says 1400. Ford isn't winning anything this year, given their lead time to make this car is a massive failure. Says E. Damon, so he is on the redesign train, I would imagine. Richmond night race again, Xfinity day race though. Says never race fan. In 5 years, what is the Joe Gibbs racing lineup looking like? Assuming Gibbs is in the 54 and Bell is in the 20. I feel like eventually they've got to give Gibbs the 18.